What's up, everybody? I'm Frosty the Sandwich. Welcome back to Marvel Rivals. As you can see, I made it to Grandmasters, and I've used Mantis a lot to do that. I think she's a really fun character to play. I really like her playstyle, and I think she's really good in the meta right now. She's easily one of the strongest strategists, and one of the reasons is because of her ultimate, and another reason is because she's pretty much the assist queen, and you can basically keep buffing you can damage buff your entire team, you can damage buff yourself, and you can heal your entire team on top of having a really powerful CC tool in her shift, her sedation ability. It has a really wide AoE on it, so it's really easy to land on people. And then her just damage in general. She does shoot projectiles, which are a little slow, so it's hard to land shots, but when you do land them, they deal a lot of damage, especially if you deal headshots. And one thing about her kit is you'll see these leaves basically on the screen in front of you. There'll be four leaves. Every ability except for her shift utilizes those, and basically whenever you get a headshot, you regenerate one of the. They do regenerate over time, but they also regenerate whenever you get a headshot on an opponent. So a lot of her playstyle is essentially you want to keep healing your teammates and then spam into the thick of the enemy, hoping to get headshots to regenerate your leaves so that you can spam more heals and damage buffs onto your team. You want to try and stick in the back line, and you're going to hold your sleep for whenever you get dove or you see a juicy opportunity to get a kill or maybe cancel somebody's ultimate. That's something I really like to do a lot with her, is if somebody has a really telegraphed ultimate, I guess is what I would call it. Usually it'll be like a loud sound cue. You can usually cancel their ultimate by sedating them. You gotta be quick though. Another thing that I like to do with her is basically try and pick out an enemy on the other team and counter their ultimate. I don't remember if I specifically picked somebody out this game. We'll see what happens. Sometimes I specifically will just counter ult whenever they have the ultimate. But essentially her ultimate is a huge burst of healing in an AoE around her, and it'll actually overheal you and give you shield for the duration. And it's pretty significant. It's not impossible to kill you through it. Iron Man ult can still kill you. There's a couple of things that can still one-shot you, but it really does have to be that one tick of damage. If it's damage over time, forget it. She'll probably be able to heal through it. Just like Luna. Her and Luna have very similar ults, although Luna's can provide a damage buff. Mantis is basically just pure healing in an AoE, and you can act during it, which is a key difference between Luna and Mantis. Luna's basically just dancing around. She can't really use her abilities or shoot at anybody during it. Basically, when you pop your ultimate, I think the best thing for you to do is then run around and do a damage buff on your team, and maybe damage buff yourself, dive the back line of the enemy team and maybe kill a healer, and then come back through your. Don't stay in the back line because you'll die and you're a healer, so you're incredibly important for the team. But yeah, when your ult's up, that's when you can kind of shift away from heal mode, because you're just naturally healing everybody around you, and you can kind of dive and make some plays, maybe get a couple of kills. And this, don't get me wrong, this character can absolutely duel. Again, if you get up in somebody's face with her, her projectiles are actually a lot easier to land because there's less travel time on them, essentially. So don't be afraid to, if you get dove, trade with them. Usually my tactic whenever I get dove, and you are going to get dove as Mantis, especially if the enemy duelists know what they're doing, is you try and land at least 1 or 2 hits on them. It doesn't have to be a headshot. Just land 1 or 2 hits on them, on their body, sedate them, and then you get a free headshot that'll usually kill them outright. And if that doesn't kill them, 1 or 2 more follow-up shots, you will usually be able to get it before they fully wake up and can move again, and that'll secure the kill. She's very good at countering dive characters, unless it's a very coordinated dive, which you will see, unfortunately, at this level of gameplay sometimes. It can be very frustrating to play against certain team comps as a Mantis. In that case, sometimes you might just need to swap off and swap to someone who's a little more mobile. Jeff comes to mind, so does Rocket. Rocket's climbing ability can actually get him out of a lot of situations. I think it's kind of slept on right now. Cloak and Dagger as well. I believe they do have a lot of survivability in their kit, although I'm not. I think I have maybe like 20 minutes on that character, so don't quote me on that. I could be wrong. As you can see, we're definitely trying to stick to the back of our team, but still stay on top of our team. Mantis doesn't really have an escape ability at all. You get one sleep and you get one shot at it every, I believe it's like 14 seconds. Don't quote me, don't flame me in the comments if that's slightly off. I'm sorry. I don't know the exact time on it, but it's significant. Like she really does thrive inside of her team and shrivel immediately outside of her team. You don't really want to go off on your own. You always want to have at least one or two teammates in your sight line, because you're not only are you basically denying some healing to your team if you're away from them, but you're also denying them damage because you give them damage buffs. And you are kind of the core player of the team. I would consider you the shot caller. I don't really comm that much. I prefer the ping system myself. But if you are the Mantis player, I would expect you to usually be doing the comms, because you're usually chilling just behind everybody else and you have a better sight line of what's happening on the battlefield, usually. Now that can change depending on your comp. I think she's also incredibly good at enabling dive characters. We don't really have a whole lot of dive on our team right now. I mean, I guess we have Wolverine, but that is that Psylocke. Wolverine and Psylocke sort of dive. Wolverine can be dive. He's more or less tries to pull them into you. So I don't know if I'd really consider him dive. I'm thinking more like Spider-Man, Venom, Black Panther. You know, the type, or Iron Fist, the type that really want to dive into the back line. You're very good at helping them stay alive, because you can basically give them, I usually do the two for combo. Give them a little bit of healing, because even if they're full health, if they take damage, it'll heal them over time for the duration that it's on them, and you give them the damage boost, which I believe is 8 seconds. Again, don't quote me on that. The timing might be slightly off. One thing that's been hard to find about this game is exact damage numbers and timings on abilities and stuff like that. If somebody knows of a master like Flowcheat or something that somebody has somewhere in Reddit, please let me know in the comments. Give me a link. I'd love to see the actual damage numbers behind some of these abilities and the timings behind them and stuff like that. It would be really interesting to know. Here we're still we're hanging out behind our teammate. We're not trying to be too aggressive. We are basically the anchor to the team. If we go down, typically everyone else goes down. I mean, a core part about playing healer is just understand that you should be the primary target for the enemy duelists. I don't think they were doing a very good job of targeting me or our other healer here, which is probably one of the reasons that they lost this game. They should be coming after you almost exclusively. There will be some very frustrating games if you main healer where you're just going to get targeted over and over by the DPS. It is just because they're doing their job. It's very tilting, like, don't get me wrong. I don't blame you for getting frustrated, but just understand that they're doing basically exactly what they're supposed to, because if the healers fall, the rest of the team will crumble. Healers keep the team alive. They really are in this type of game. It was no different in Overwatch. You know, you can take out anybody else, and it's not quite as impactful because the rest of them can regenerate. You take out a healer, and all the damage you start dealing, all that chip damage you start dealing, becomes a lot more meaningful. Because especially if you take both of them out, then there's nothing except they better play around health packs. That's why I do enjoy characters that tend to be more mobile. Mantis's only mobility really is when she's full health, which I guess I haven't really talked about her passive. Mantis will passively heal herself unless she's full health, in which case she will get a pretty sizable movement speed buff, which I really like. It is basically her only form of movement, and that's why I usually, basically when I'm topped off, I like to hop around to make it a little bit harder for me to hit. She kind of feels like a frog to play to me. I know she's a mantis, but yeah, she's green. She has some frog-like qualities. But yeah, I really enjoy the speed buff when it's up. It can make her incredibly difficult to hit. Another thing you can try and do is not ever engage a Hela like that, because you will get killed immediately. If they're in any way competent, they will murder your ass. And hit scan characters in general are going to give you the most trouble, I think, on this character. Hela in particular, I think, would be your biggest counter. Punisher can be pretty difficult to deal with, so can Star-Lord. Yeah, which Star-Lord is hit scan. I was thinking Bucky, but I don't think Bucky's hit scan. Bucky can CC you though, which can be a nuisance. I've seen a lot of good Bucky players that can just manhandle you. I don't understand how that character works, but I need to learn how to play him. He does seem very strong. One thing you can try and do is get some cheeky headshots on Hela players when they're ulting like that, but you definitely don't want to expose yourself too much to their sightline. They can 2-tap you in their ult, so you will die if you try and hang out there. If I had tried to deal any more damage than I did there, I probably would have died. There, we basically did a counter ult to try and just delay as much as possible. One of the huge strengths of Mantis and Luna is you can solo ult and just stand on point, even if you're in the middle of the enemy team, and just delay that timer. Keep delaying the timer. If you're on defense, there's nothing wrong with doing that. I mean, here we've got plenty of time on the clock still that we've got to waste, so the more we can waste out, even if it's trading just an ultimate. So we were a little too pushed up there. We definitely should have dropped back behind our team, and we died for it. But, you know, that'll happen sometimes. Sometimes you get a little tunnel visioned on the objective, and you forget that you're a healer. I do not primarily play healer, but I do enjoy it. I enjoy all three roles, honestly, and I think that's one of the things that keeps me back playing games like this, is there's just so much variety that'll keep it from getting stale too quickly. I've been really enjoying the different characters. I don't know, let me know how you feel in the comments. Do they have enough characters and variety of playstyle? How do you feel? Or do you wish there was more variety in the characters? I think they nailed it, personally, but, you know, there's always difference of opinion out there. Here we're gonna try not to push too far past the payload and kind of use it as cover. It's something I haven't really discussed yet, is using the payload as cover is kind of coded in my opinion. I believe it does heal you like did in Overwatch, which is kind of slept on as well. But there our team kind of got wiped, so we're just having the recognition that, hey, we can't hang out here anymore, we have to move back and wait for our team to respawn. It's just something you're going to have to learn how to do. Every single one of us has to do that walk of shame. Here we're doing the best we can to just deny line of sight on the enemy, but they end up hard pushing around that corner, and we also recognize that Luna's ulting, so we're just going to go ahead and counter ult. One of the best things you can do as a Mantis player, if you do end up letting Luna through, is counter ult their ultimate. The healing is comparable. I don't actually know who wins. Luna might have slightly more, Mantis might have slightly more. I would hope Mantis has slightly more, considering that Luna can also damage buff her team, but I don't know. Someone else let me know in the comments if you know the exact numbers. I would be very interested to see the amount of healing per minute that each ultimate does. Right, per minute, per second, per tick, whatever it ends up being. I don't know how it's set up. But there we ended up winning the fight. Of course, they do have checkpoints, so we're kind of just in their base right now. So we should honestly back up here a little bit instead of being right on their spawn door. We should at least deny line of sight on the spawn door itself, because that allows them to basically sit in a safe area and deal damage to us, where we cannot deal damage back to them. I think this was a good call to move back just a little bit here to let them push out a tiny bit so we can actually start killing them again. And we have ultimate almost immediately after that last fight. One of the huge strengths of Mantis is how quickly you can farm ultimate with her. And that just comes with it. Not only are you're farming ultimate from your teammates dealing damage whenever they have the buff on them, from you healing your teammates, and from you dealing damage. There's a lot of things you can be doing to build ultimate on this character at any given moment. And that's why I think like she is, I think, fundamentally a very easy character to learn and pick up. But there's just a lot of real-time decision making that you have to get good at to be a good Mantis player, in my opinion. Your real-time decision making is really what's going to set you apart from other Mantis players, because the kit itself is very easy to navigate. I don't think you have to be very mechanically gifted to use her outside of maybe just having good aim. I think you do have to have at least decent aim on her projectiles, but that's about it. That's the only thing you have to aim with her. Is that, and even like her sleep, yeah, you do have to aim that to a degree, but it's a huge AoE. It's very good. Really, with the sleep, I think your best bet is to basically just train yourself, condition yourself to always respond to when you hear the enemy ult, and maybe look at the enemy team lineup and pick one or two people and just tell yourself, as soon as I hear that audio cue for that ultimate, I'm going to find them and I'm going to sleep them. Denying an entire ultimate for an enemy is honestly huge, and it could very well make the difference between winning and losing a game. So the more often you can sleep an enemy before they get their ultimate off, just the more likely that you and your team are going to win the game. Mantis is such a big team player. Unfortunately, our sleep was down there because we could have easily slept that Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is a huge candidate for sleeping before his ultimate goes off, because it has a huge wind-up and he's very loud when he does it. Those are kind of the two things that I look for when I'm looking for somebody who would be very easy to sleep in their ultimate. The other, Spider-Man can be very easy. Black Panther, Scarlet Witch even are some that come to mind. Penny, you can also, if you sleep her in the middle of the ult, it doesn't cancel it, but if you do it on the wind-up, it'll cancel Penny's ultimate. But yeah, that was Mantis. I've been having a lot of fun with her. I will definitely keep doing more VOD reviews like this. Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this. If you didn't like it, let me know. Let me know what I could be doing better. Maybe you want me to spend more time talking about the play-by-plays instead of the overall strategy of the character. Either way, I really appreciate you guys spending time with me. And if you like this, check out my other content. I have other VOD reviews already, and I'll have more coming soon.